How does a franchise go from releasing a game in 1987 all the way to releasing over 130 individual titles by 2023? Rockman, aka Megaman, is the epitome of what it means to rise from the bottom to the top through sheer creativity, innovation, and consistency. But there's more to this franchise than meets the eye, because alongside the Mega Man video game series, there's also an anime which spans over 55 episodes. However, before diving into that, we first need to travel back to where it all began. From the very first day it was released at my local GameStop, I've developed a strong interest in the Megaman Star Force series. Similar to the Battle Network series, I've enjoyed the unique and quirky character designs in the game, as well as the very engaging battle mechanics. And of course, the storyline of the game had me reenacting Geo's transformation into Mega Man during recess while I was still in primary school. Looking back at it, it was really cringy, but back then I didn't care. My love for the series continued throughout my early years of high school, when I decided to make YouTube gameplays of the series on my DS emulator. The Megaman Star Force series has really influenced me, as it has opened my eyes to the gaming world and made me appreciate all the time, dedication, and hard work it takes to create such a masterpiece. What Capcom has managed to create is this childlike whimsicality that they managed to bring to myself and many others, which is a true spectacle to behold. So today, I've decided to dive deep into this series, both the video games and the anime, give you a better look at what had influenced and entertained me and many others for such a long time, show those who are new to the franchise why it is so beloved, and also offer a trip down memory lane to those like myself, who grew up with Mega Man Star Force. So, without further ado, let's get started. Mega Man Star Force, as a whole, is a sub-series of the Mega Man franchise, which spans over 50 games. So, the main franchise had its first game released way back in 1987 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The original series story was focused on a robust boy called Rock. He was created to be a lab assistant by two scientists, Dr. Light and Dr. Wily. But as the latter turned bad, Rock volunteered to be transformed by Dr. Light into a fighting robot so that he could defend the world from Dr. Wily's violent threats. In a nutshell, that's how Rock becomes the first Mega Man. This original series has yet to reach a conclusive ending to this day, as the storyline shifts to the Mega Man X series, Mega Man Zero series, Mega Man ZX, and Mega Man Legends. All of these series follow one continuous timeline, but going on a separate alternate timeline, Capcom has decided to also create the Mega Man Battle Network and Mega Man Star Force sub-series. What is different between the main Mega Man timeline and this alternative timeline is the fact that in Battle Network and Star Force, it is the internet that flourished, rather than robotics. The Star Force game series contains only 3 games and a spin-off, and story-wise, it is set in the same universe as Battle Network, but takes place several years after. This is a futuristic setting where technology and the digital realm are seamlessly integrated into everyday life. Mega Man Star Force takes place in a near-future Earth, where you will find 2 parallel worlds, the real world and the wave world. The real world in the Mega Man Star Force series is quite similar to our own, except it has advanced technological enhancements. People in this world use devices called visualizers to communicate, access information, and perform various tasks. These visualizers look quite similar to a smartwatch, but they have holographic displays that project information, images, and even can project virtual objects. The wave world, on the other hand, is basically the digital world, parallel to the real one. It's a realm of data and energy where the virtual infrastructure of Earth exists, but instead of people living in it, you have various programs, entities, and phenomena that mirror the elements of the real world. The wave world is divided into different regions and areas, each with its own unique characteristics and inhabitants. People can enter the wave world through their visualizers or other similar devices, allowing them to interact with programs, battle viruses, and explore digital landscapes. In the Mega Man Star Force games, players are granted the freedom to explore a variety of towns and regions, alongside the opportunity to venture into the wave world, where much of the action unfolds. Star Force takes a significant departure from the traditional Mega Man formula, as it draws heavily from elements found in the Battle Network series, with only a handful of references or nods to the broader Mega Man universe. Notably, Capcom designed Star Force as a self-contained series, enabling players to fully enjoy the game without any prior knowledge of the Battle Network series. So if you're new to Mega Man Star Force, don't worry, you don't need to play other series in order to understand this particular one. The narrative is set in the fictional year 220X, where the focus on internet technology has declined, giving way to a world interconnected through the use of EM waves. While cyber worlds and net navis still retain a presence in Star Force, human dependence on them has considerably diminished, and people no longer possess navi companions. The Earth is encircled by 3 substantial satellites, Pegasus, Leo, and Dragon, which supply power to the EM wave world, an ethereal realm encompassing the Earth's atmosphere, thus maintaining the global network. Although the EM wave world typically eludes human perception, a unique device known as the Visualizer, owned by the series' central character, enables humans to perceive this alternate dimension. However, akin to the cyberworlds in the Battle Network series, the EM wave world is prone to be inhabited by EM wave viruses that disrupt daily life. In the Battle Network era, individuals operated personal terminals, or PETs, in order to constantly interact with the network. In the Star Force universe, comparable devices termed transfers are employed. These transfers are compatible with battle cards, and by swiping through them, users can eliminate viruses plaguing the EM wave world and other electronic devices. A dedicated group known as the Satella Police strives to counter virus incursions and foil criminals manipulating the EM wave world to perpetrate illegal activities. Furthermore, a distant extraterrestrial planet named Planet FM is inhabited by beings called Ephemians. These Ephemians possess the ability to traverse both realms, physical and the digital, and they can physically merge with humans through a process called electromagnetic wave change, or in the Japanese it's called denpa-henken. This process, besides conferring human hosts with Ephemian powers, results in their transformation into EM wave humans, granting them the capacity to navigate the EM wave world and specific cyber networks within electronic devices. The game's central character is Geostellar, the son of a renowned scientist and astronaut. His path intersects with that of a renegade Ephemian called Omega, who establishes residence within Geo's transfer device. Upon undergoing an electromagnetic wave change, Geo and Omega merge into an entity that eventually becomes known as Megaman. While the Battle Network series prominently featured NetNavis, often inspired by the robot masters from the classic Megaman series, Star Force shifts its focus to Ephemians inspired by real-life constellations. There are many things that the Star Force series has adopted from Battle Network, but the battle system is tweaked up a little. The battles are now presented in 3D using an over-the-shoulder perspective. However, Geo is only able to move left and right. Mega Man is able to lock onto enemies, making close-range attacks like swords still effective. You can use battle cards, replacing battleships, or your trusty Mega Buster to wipe out enemies on the screen. One thing that Star Force did differently is the Brother Band system. This is when 2 players form a connection to exchange bonuses, like extra HP or favorite battle cards. As a player, you can have up to 6 brothers, but don't worry, the game can complete it even without using this feature. In fact, the games typically have an NPC character form a brother band with you as a part of the brother band tutorial. The very first installment of the Star Force series was Megaman Star Force Dragon, Pegasus, and Leo, which were released in 2006 in Japan and 2007 in North America and Europe. Dragon, Pegasus, and Leo are 3 variants of basically the same game. The only difference is they have a different unlockable power form. This is the origin story of Geo meeting Omega, and it begins when Geo's father goes missing during an experiment involving the wave world. As a result, the game takes a while before you actually become Mega Man. Once you do, the story involves Geo finally opening up and making friends. However, one by one, his friends fall victim to the Ephemians, an alien race of electromagnetic beings who prey on loneliness. Being the first in the series, the game elements and battle cards are the most straightforward. Additionally, Mega Man's powered up form only comes later in the game, and even then is only accessible at random due to it being a battle card. The game allows you to navigate both the real world and the wave world, exploring locations, battling enemies, and solving puzzles. The central gameplay mechanic is real-time grid-based combat, where you get to control Mega Man's movements and attacks using the touchscreen of your DS. The second installment of the series was called Mega Man Star Force 2, Zerker X Soren, and Zerker X Ninja, which were released in 2008. And in it, Geo must save the world from a mysterious new threat and save his friends. Whereas in the previous Star Force involved invaders from space, this time the world is threatened by an ancient civilization being awakened. The entire game takes place in the physical world, across multiple continents, even and not once can Mega Man enter a comp space, helping to set the Mega Man Star Force series apart from the Battle Network series. The second installment of the Star Force series is the game where Geo discovers a new ability called Tri-Bond, allowing Mega Man to transform into various forms and ancient-like entities battling against new enemies. The Zerker X Ninja version focuses on Gio's ability to combine with ninja-themed forms, while the Zerker X Soren version features dinosaur-themed forms. And lastly, Megaman Star Force 3 Black Ace and Red Joker, released in 2009, is the conclusion to the Star Force saga. This game restyles several aspects of the series, possibly in an attempt to renew interest in the series or to go out with a bang. For instance, Megaman has been redesigned, the game uses a new title logo, the presentation has more stylistic elements, battle cards appear almost strewn about the bottom screen rather than being lined up evenly. And Gio can now once again enter comp spaces, now called cybercores, like he could in the first Star Force. The game also has improved audio compared to the first two Star Force titles, as well as the best soundtrack of the Star Force series. Megaman Star Force 3 games built upon the previous title's mechanics and introduced new concepts called noise forms. Gio can now fuse with powerful noise forms, enhancing Megaman's abilities. The game revolves around their confrontation with an evil organization called Dealer, and their plans to control the Wave World. The Black Ace and Red Joker versions offer distinct noise forms and storylines. Additionally, a new gameplay feature called the Noise Change system allowed Megaman to transform based on the frequency of noise in battle, adding strategic depth to the combat. This noise change system features over 100 forms, each with their own unique attributes in battle. Furthermore, the player's form continually evolves and changes throughout the game, as opposed to being limited to only a single form and having to start the game over to choose a different one. Despite all the changes, the game suffered from randomly triggered encounters, which fans criticized heavily. On top of this flaw, there were several instances throughout the game of poor design. Players reported boss encounters being triggered without warning or losing their progress when they were defeated. And probably the most annoying one, at certain points in the story, being unable to proceed through the game until the player pressed A on non-existent objects he or she must find in order to access secret passages called noise waves, which, by the way, are mandatory. Besides these three games in the Star Force series, there is also a spin-off game titled Rockman EXE Operation Shooting Star, released in 2009 for the Nintendo DS. Operation Shooting Star was a crossover between Mega Man Battle Network series and the Mega Man Star Force series. Ultimately, however, it is little more than a port of the first Mega Man Battle Network, upscaled to Nintendo's DS resolution. The main addition is the fact that Gio Stellar makes an appearance as a boss in the game.
You are, what now? Syphilis Man!
And the player can also unlock the ability to play as Gio, though Operation Shooting Star was never released outside of Japan. But if you thought the Star Force series ended with these games, then you're wrong. There's also an anime and manga series which were based on the video games. The anime series aired in Japan from 2006 to 2008 following the release of the games, and it was also dubbed and aired in English-speaking regions. Of course, just like in the games, the story follows the adventures of Gio Stellar and Omegasis as they battle various EM wave beings that are threatening to destroy Earth. The anime closely follows the plot of the video games with some variations and additional story elements. It expands upon the relationships and interactions between the characters, delves deeper into the mysteries of the Wave World, and introduces original storylines and characters not present in the games. The anime was divided into two seasons, the first one closely following the events of the first Mega Man Star Force game, while the second season introduced new characters and featured original storylines and new antagonists. Just like the video games, the anime series received mixed reviews, but fans of the game really appreciated being able to see the characters in animated forms, and enjoyed this new way of experiencing the story. On the other hand, the manga, which was first released in 2006, differs greatly from the video games and the anime. Although the premise is set up similarly, so yes, in the manga Gio meets Omegasis, and by combining their powers they are able to transform into Mega Man, Gio discovers the Wave Coliseum, a tournament offering the Star Force power, which he hopes will aid his quest to find his father, who is missing. He enters the tournament, but one of the competitors, Gemini Spark, steals Star Force to revive Andromeda, the king of the Ephemians. The story concludes with Mega Man finding out that Andromeda and Gio's father, Kelvin, had fused as one. After defeating Andromeda, Kelvin returns home with his family. From Chapter 17 onward, the story shifts to characters from the second game. Gio and Omegasis are absent. The second game's Tribon transformations, Thunder Zerker, Fire Soren, Green Ninja are distinct entities, and the story follows Zerker, who seeks revenge on Rogue, who harmed their tribe. Since the end of the anime series and the release of Mega Man Star Force 3, nothing was heard of a potential sequel. Some fans gave up on waiting for a new game to come up, and in 2019, the website Rockman Corner revealed that while Capcom worked on a Mega Man Star Force 4, the project was cancelled. From what Rockman Corner's source can recall, the mystery game's tone was aiming to be more mature in order to attract an older demographic. In addition to an older Gio Stellar, protagonist of the Star Force series, it would have featured a new character named Kazuma. While he's described as a genius hacker, the more important piece of information is that it was planned for him to be a direct descendant of Lan Hikari's family, the protagonist of the Battle Network series. It's likely that Kazuma and the change in tone were meant to try and bring back older Battle Network fans that didn't make the jump to the successor series. Outside of that, the premise was for the two characters to cross paths and become outlaw hackers, with an 8 million Zenny bounty on each of their heads. Hacking was supposed to be the new mechanic, with the source comparing it to the noise mechanic from Star Force 3. While specific dev team members aren't known, the only illustration that was leaked was done by Shinsuke Komaki, a veteran of the Megaman franchise. In addition, the source claims that while development started between 2009 and 2010, the game was roughly halfway into development before it was cancelled. When exactly it was cancelled was not stated, but it should be noted these games normally had 1-year development cycles, so Inafune's departure in late 2010 likely had no influence on the decision to cancel this one. As soon as this news came out, fans took to Reddit and other online communities to express their wish for this fourth game to be completed, saying that the new concept of hacking would have been a great addition to the Star Force series. But other fans have said that while it would have been great to have this new game, they don't mind the cancellation, as Star Force 3 had ended on a solid note, wrapping everything up nicely so that it wouldn't really need a continuation. These same fans have expressed that they would rather have a fresh start with a new cast of characters, given how much time has passed since the last Star Force game. While opinions are split on this cancellation, it is quite sad to think that half of a game was already developed before it got cancelled. That is probably the main reason why fans of the franchise were angry. Star Force 4 wasn't in the conceptual stage, it was in production. It is still unclear why it was cancelled, and while some sources say that the poor sales of Operation Shooting Stars and Star Force 3 could be the reason why, people are not fully convinced. What do you think of this cancellation? What possible reasons do you believe would Capcom have to completely shut down the production of Star Force 4? Let me know in the comments section below. The Star Force game series is considered by many fans to be deeply underrated, featuring great storytelling, depth, and character development. The gameplay mechanics are also highly regarded, with some calling the battle system as excellent. Over the years, Megaman Star Force has managed to amass a large community of fans who not just love the series, but also consider it influential, as most of them have found the game when they were younger, just like me. Today, even with all the developments and improvements made in the gaming space, I still believe Megaman Star Force is a great game to play. Did you play any of the games in the series? If not, would you be curious to try them? Let me know what you think of the franchise in the comment section below. And if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon so you can be notified each time I post something new. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again in my next video.